Hi everyone, it's just Stuart from Cruising with Stuart and Jeff. We've just recently got off the MSC World Europa and we thought we'd do a day-by-day itinerary of what we did both in port and on the ship. So sit back, relax and enjoy.
Hi, my name's Stuart.
And I'm Jeff, and welcome to Cruising with Stuart and Jeff.
So we left school, finished work, 3 o'clock on the Friday, and we drove straight down to Heathrow. We stopped in a travel lodge, which was next to a Toby Carvery, which was by Jeff's request, as he does love a carvery. The following morning, we got up and we were at the airport for 5:30 because our flight was at 7:30. We treated ourselves to a lounge, which was nice, but I mean, we got the buns and the buns were still frozen, so it's not really a good start, but it was breakfast. We got our flight at 7:30, which took us straight to Marseille, which was very straightforward. When we got into Marseille airport, it was easy transition, but one thing we did find odd was that Jeff got fingerprinted, and that's to do with the new European law ready for the ESTA based requirements, but I didn't, which was really strange, but you know, you just go with it, don't you? We then decided we were going to get an Uber from the airport to the port, which only cost us around €20, which we thought was relatively cheap. It picked us up really easy, it took us about half an hour to get there, and it dropped us off right in the terminal, which was lovely really. One thing I did find odd though was that they asked us to put our own luggage on the belt instead of having porters. There was porters on the other side because you could hear them, they were shifting the luggage around, but you put her on the belt yourself, which is fine for us. But what if you weren't able to? What if you had an elderly couple or someone who's got a lot of kids with them? It doesn't make it easy, does it? But it's not the end of the world, but I just found it was odd. Maybe in the American sailings it might be different, but this was just a weird setup for me. Once on board, as always, you've got your muster drill to do. This is where our problems started really. We tried to do it on the phone, like you can do with Royal Caribbean. It didn't work, it kept coming up with an error. So we went to the room to try it, because you could also do it in your room, sign it off in your room. But ours kept coming up with saying no room or wrong number on the TV. So we spoke to our room steward, who was lovely, and he had a look of it. Then we came back, it still wasn't sorted, so we went to guest services for them to hopefully deal with it. Come back again, it wasn't sorted. And it took 4 hours to get this sorted, and even when our room steward's manager had come, they kept showing us the video, which was fine, and we were saying, we understand, but that's not what we're asking you. We need to sign it off to say that we've done, because if we don't, we can't sail. And well, we want to sail, don't we really? Another odd thing we found with MSC was that they had towels in your room for you to take with you to the pool. That's fine, but they were saying to us there was no towel exchange for you to get the towels. Yet on the deck outside the Botanic Bar, there was a towel exchange place where you could go and exchange your towels. So I don't know why you couldn't just get towels from there rather than exchanging it. It was a very weird concept, but your room steward was happy to change them each day. I just don't get why you couldn't just go and get them, check them in, check them out like you do with Royal. It made more sense to do that because you're manning that place anyway, so it just would have made sense for me. So we'd opted for early dining, which was 5:30, as we just like to go and see as many shows as we can. But one of the good things with MSC is that, well, they have them several times a night because they're so much shorter. They're like between 30 to 45 minutes, which actually makes things a lot better, especially when it comes to meal times. One, you're not going to miss a show, or 2, you're not sat for long, especially if you didn't like the show or you were thinking, oh, this is a bit boring. At least you know you're not going to be sat there long, you're not going to disturb other people, like leaving halfway through. We managed to get in for 5:30 on that first night, but on our C pass cards it actually said 7:30, and they couldn't guarantee us when we'd gone to the main dining room to query this of an early sitting. So actually the first night was the only night we actually sat in the main dining room, which was a bit naff really, because we do like sitting in the main dining room and having the full experience. And we actually had our tea quite a lot in the buffet, which in a way gave you a good variety of choice compared to what they do in the main dining room. So the first show of the night was called Adrenaline. For me, it wasn't for me. It was a magic show, but for you UK people, it was like watching a magician at Butlins. You could see a lot of how the tricks were going. It had the cheesy music. It was something that you would see at an all-inclusive, maybe in Spain. They were good at what they did, don't get me wrong, but for me it wasn't really cruise ship entertainment. But you know, it was good to see. It was fun. So the second show we watched that night was A Night on Broadway. Now, it didn't start off the best because it was doing a lot of old musicals, which is nothing wrong with all older musicals. There really isn't. Like My Fair Lady and things like that. It was good, but I was hoping that the whole show wasn't going to be like this, and that they were going to include some of like the more modern ones, like Your Wicked and things like that, which they did. But by the looks of things, they did their own spin on things. I don't know if that's to copyright and things like that. The song was like the same, but the people on stage weren't dressed as Elphaba, Fiyero and that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's just we have to watch how we go doing this sort of thing. But overall, I definitely think that was one of the best shows of the week. Jeff really enjoyed it and we was happy to see it again if we got the option. But it seems like every night seems to be it's something different, which is really good as well. Every night they seem to have the dance class dances, which usually is in the Dolce Vita bar, and they were doing a different type of dance every night. They did the salsa, they did the rumba, they did the samba. But on the night, for a few minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes, they actually came out on the World Galleria and actually put on a little performance, which was really good because we didn't know they were going to do that. They were absolutely fantastic at what they did. Like, the bloke flung that lass around, like, I don't know what, some arms. I was thinking she probably doesn't even know what day it is by the end of it, but it was really good to watch. So that's the end of the first day. I hope you've enjoyed it. Follow on for the rest of them. If you've enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the playlist. And at some point, Jeff will be putting on a tour of the full ship to give you a good idea of what it can be like. So, see you next time.